So I get invited to LA, but then I still had a problem. The problem was that I still had no investors. I was racking my brain trying to figure out, what am I gonna do about investing? Well, at the Revolt Summit in Atlanta, I meet these guys. They say, hey, we can get you investors. We know this investment firm. Let us connect you. I'm like, cool, great, let's do it. So I call them up, I start having conversations. They say they can connect me with these guys. They'll put together all this paperwork, introduce me to all these family offices, which is where rich people use to invest all their money. They say, the only thing is, we do require a retainer. We're like an attorney. We're gonna put together all these numbers. We're gonna get you all these calls. And we're gonna get you your investment. And I'm like, great. And I met these guys at the Revolt Summit in Atlanta, so I'm like, they seem pretty legit, but something about it just made me very anxious, very nervous, like it was a bad idea. And it was at this building right here, Powell Symphony Hall, where I got a phone call from these guys and I made the decision to pay their retainer. I think it was called Black Legend Capital. I don't even think they're around anymore. They said they wanted $5,000 a month retainer for 6 months. And they were gonna get me a minimum of like 10, 15 meetings with investors. And they said, we have meetings with investors. They always invest because they know we do our due diligence. And at the time I didn't know anything, but it felt wrong. And I didn't really understand the feeling because I was thinking that, I don't want to do this because I'm just nervous and I gotta take risks. I didn't know that gut feeling difference between making a mistake and taking a calculated risk. And so I took what I thought was a calculated risk, but was actually a huge mistake. I paid them $5,000 a month. Paid them $5,000 in the first month. Nothing happened. Second month comes around, pay them another $5,000. They set up one meeting and nothing happens. I get out to LA. I actually meet them in person in LA because that's where their offices were. And they seemed pretty legit. Got to meet them, gave them some product, and it felt okay. But then the third month comes around and I'm like, I don't have any investors yet, and I don't pay. And the fourth, I don't pay. The fifth, I don't pay. And they start sending me nasty messages and nasty emails about, what they're gonna do to me and you need to pay us and all this crap. And, long story short, they were shysters and they were scam artists. And they cost me $10,000. And this was at a time when we'd only ever made $100,000 in the lifetime of Flipstick. This is 2 full years into the business and 10% of the money that I made is going to these guys who were total shysters. And at the time, it felt like the biggest failure. I felt like a complete idiot. I was so upset and so angry at myself for making that mistake. But what I didn't know at the time is that recognizing that feeling and understanding that difference, that gut feeling of right and wrong, would eventually help me to avoid mistakes in the future. One of the things that gave me perspective was I was watching a video of Jamie Foxx. He was talking about how he was getting his Christmas lights done. And he talks about how he wanted Christmas lights, he wanted to be really elaborate, and these guys come along, and I can't remember exactly how much he paid, but they told him it was gonna be like $25,000, $30,000 to do these Christmas lights. And he paid it, he had it, he paid it. Then these other guys come along, and they're like, Jamie, would have done that for like, $2,000. So he got had, but he wasn't upset. He's like, I'm blessed to be able to make a mistake of that size and it not hurt me. And even though that $10,000 hurt me, I still was able to recover. It wasn't such a catastrophic mistake that I couldn't recover. And for that, I was very fortunate. And in LA, while that office wasn't a great one, the opportunity that came from Revolt would be.